North San Antonio is not one place, it's three, and they sit in rings. Loop 410 is the inner highway loop. That's basically the old edge of the city. 1604 is the outer loop, another 8 or 9 miles out. Which ring you land in decides your house age, your drive, and what shows up on your tax bill. Castle Hills sits just inside Loop 410 on the north side, and is technically its own little city with its own police department. Most of it went up in the 50s and 60s, ranch style, low and wide, big lots, oak trees, older than the house. Nothing new is being built there. What you buy is what somebody already lived in for 40 years. Encino Park is a couple miles further out, sitting right up against 1604, also its own small city. Bigger lots, a lot of them close to an acre, and prices to match. It's quiet in a way that surprises people. Deer in the front yard quiet. You're paying for the address and the land, not for a new kitchen. Stone Oak is the third one, and it's the one you've already seen online. It starts just past 1604 and climbs north up the hill from there. Newer than the other two, bigger houses, more of them, shopping on every corner. That's also where the extra fees start showing up on the tax statement. Same side of town, three completely different buys. Castle Hills is the old house on a great lot. Shivano is land. Stone Oak is square footage and a newer roof. If you're relocating on orders or buying with a VA loan, the thing that separates these isn't style. It's what the county and the district charge you to live there. A medical center is a cluster of hospitals and the northwest side inside 410. Floyd Curl is the street most of them sit on. Wurzbach is the road that crosses it, and the Audie Murphy VA hospital is right there in the middle of all of it. You're getting care there regularly. This section is your section. Oak Hills sits just south and west of the hospital cluster. That's about as close as you live without being in the parking lot. Houses from the 60s and 70s, mostly one story, real grown trees. The drive over to Floyd Curl is short and a normal morning. Some days it's 5 minutes. Churchill Estates is a little further north, still inside 1604, off Northwest Military Highway, which is the road that runs up towards Castle Hills. Bigger two stories, 70s and 80s builds, and a lot of them have been redone inside. Sidewalks, mature trees, and you're still close to Wurzbach. Deerfield is the newest of the three inside that ring, mostly 80s and 90s, sitting up near 1604 off Lock Hill, Selma, one of the north-south roads inside the loop. Bigger floor plans than Oak Hills. Tile roofs on some streets. Straight shot down to the hospitals. It's what people pick when they want space but don't want the highway drive. Here's the actual trade inside the loop. These homes are older, so you're expecting foundations, cast iron drain lines, 30-year-old ductwork. Budget for that because you're inside established city limits where the infrastructure got built decades ago. No new development pre bolted onto your tax statement. The difference is bigger than most people expect. US 281 is the highway that runs straight north out of downtown, past the airport, and up through the newer neighborhoods. It's the spine of the whole side of the town and between the outer loop and the country line. It's the single best reason people either love where they live or regret it. Stone Oak is the big one. It starts just north of 1604 and climbs up the hill from there. Two-story homes, mostly 2000s and newer, gated pockets, grocery stores, and urgent cares everywhere. If you want a house that's already looks like that photo that you've been saving at 11 at night, that's the area. Encino Park is smaller and quieter just off 281 near Bulverde Road, which runs parallel to the highway. Late 80s and 90s, so the trees are grown in and the lots are decent size. It flies under the radar because it doesn't have a giant entrance sign and 11 villages. People who buy there tend to stay a long time. Timberwood Park is further north, past Stone Oak, and it's a different animal. Half acre and acre lots, some homes on well water and septic. It's incorporated Bear County, which means no city property tax line on your bill. That's real money every year. It also means county sheriff instead of city police, and a longer drive to everything. Drive 281 before you sign. Not on a Saturday afternoon, on a Tuesday at 7:15 in the morning from the actual street you're looking at to the actual gate or building you report to. That drive is one thing at noon, and it is a completely different thing at 7. I've had people change neighborhoods entirely after doing it once. The 281 corridor gets you more house. That part is true. Newer, bigger, better layout for the money. The question is what the drive costs you 5 days a week for the next 3 years, and whether the extra line on the tax bill cancels out what you say. Three places drive this whole side of town. Randolph is the Air Force Base on the northeast side. Fort Sam Houston is the Army post just northeast of downtown. And the BAMC, Brooke Army Medical Center, is the big military hospital sitting on Fort Sam. If any of those three is on your orders, stop scrolling 281 listings. Live Oak and Selma sit right along Interstate 35, the highway that runs northeast out of San Antonio towards Austin. Live Oak is older, 80s and 90s, smaller yards, easier prices. Selma is right next door and the newer spots. Both of them put you close to Randolph and a reasonable drive to Fort Sam outside of rush hour. Universal City is the closest thing to Randolph's front gate. The town grew up around the base, and it still feels that way. Modest houses, older, priced under most of what you'll see up north. If you want a short drive and a smaller payment and you don't need brand new construction, that's the value play on this side of the map. Schertz and Cibolo are the next two out, heading up 35 towards New Braunfels. This is where the new construction lives on the northeast side. Bigger homes, more yard, and a much easier drive to Randolph than anybody sitting up 281 gets. They've grown fast, and that growth is exactly what the school district questions matter here. Schertz Cibolo Universal City ISD, people call it SCUC, covers most of those three towns, and it's the one relocating families chase. Judson ISD covers a big piece of the Live Oak side and Converse, the town just south of there. Two districts, same highway, 10 minutes apart, and the line does not follow the city limits. That district line moves the price of the exact house. I've seen two homes, same era, same floor plan, a few miles apart, and then one of the SCUC side sells faster for more. That's not me grading the schools. That's just what buyers do. And you feel it when you go to sell. San Antonio has more than a dozen school districts, and they do not line up with the city limits, neighborhood names, or anything else that would make sense on a map. This one thing costs people money every single week. Northside ISD is the giant district covering the west and northwest side. Northeast ISD covers the north and northeast side. Both of them own pieces of Stone Oak, same subdivision, same entrance sign, and a house on one street feeds one high school, while house 3 streets over feeds a different one in a different district. Comal ISD is the district that reaches down from New Braunfels, the town up I 35 between here and Austin. It comes a lot further south than people expect. It picks up a chunk of Timberwood Park and it reaches into Cibolo Canyons, a large development east of 281, north of Stone Oak. Their county address, district headquarters in another county. Verify by address, not by subdivision name, not by what the listing says, not by what the sales office told you on a Saturday. Every district has a boundary lookup where you type in the address and it hands you the exact campus. Do that before you write an offer. Listings get this wrong consistently, and usually nobody's lying. They just copied the last one. This matters even if your kids are grown or if you don't have kids at all. Resell. The next buyer is going to look it up, and if your house sits on the wrong side of that line for the neighborhood's reputation, you'll eat the difference when you sell, especially on a house you might only hold 3 or 4 years on orders. Texas gives disabled veterans a homestead exemption on property taxes that scales with your rating. At 100% service connected, you're exempt on your homestead. This is enormous here because Texas has no state income tax and leans hard on property tax instead. That exemption is one of the best reasons to buy in this state. Here's the part that catches people. The exemption applies to property taxes. It does not apply to an MUD or PID. An MUD is a municipal utility district. PID is a public improvement district. Different setups, same area. A development outside city services borrowed money to put in the water lines and the roads, and the homeowners pay it back. The charge shows up on the same statement, in the same envelope, looking exactly like a tax. It isn't one, it's an assessment. Your exemption wipes out the school line and the county line, and that assessment just sits there, unchanged year after year, usually for a couple decades. You'll find these north and east of 1604 in the newer developments. The ones with stone entrance and the amenity center, inside Loop 410, in Oak Hills, Churchill Estates, Deerfield, and Castle Hills. You're generally not dealing with it because the city put that infrastructure in 50 years ago and it's long paid for. For 100% rated veterans, the math flips completely. A newer house north of 1604 with an assessment on it can cost you more every year than an older house inside the loop with a higher tax rate. Because you're exempt from the tax and you're not exempt from the assessment. Same price tag, different cost to own. Where do veterans actually stay put around here? Universal City, Shirts, and Cibolo? Over and over because the drive to Randolph is short and stays short. Live Oak 2, on price. The ones I see back on the market in 3 years are usually 281 buyers who picked the bigger house first and drove the commute second. None of this makes Stone Oak or Timberwood a bad buy. Plenty of people love it up there and never look back. Just go in knowing which line on that bill is tax and which one isn't. Only one of them disappear with your exemption. If you already know which base or which hospital you're reporting to, drop in the comments. I'll tell you which one of these areas I'd have you look at first. Takes me a minute. Here's what I do. Send me the address you're looking at or just the area in your rating. I'll run the real numbers, price, taxes, your exemption, and whether it's a MUD or PID sitting under the house. Then I'll send you the exact monthly payment in writing. Before you fall in love with anything, my number is on the screen and down in the description. Text me or comment the city you're coming from and I'll answer you. Thanks for watching.